He walked into the quiet hallway like a ghost wearing yesterday's battles, certain the world had forgotten his name. But one young Navy SEAL froze mid-stride, eyes locked on the faded ink on the veteran's forearm. In that instant, time seemed to fold back on itself, because that tattoo wasn't just ink. It was a story, a sacrifice, a silent anthem, and it pulled 2 generations of warriors into the same heartbeat. The first idea begins with the quiet truth many veterans carry inside them, the feeling that their story has slipped beneath the noise of everyday life. When years pass and uniforms are folded away, some begin to believe their sacrifices have blended into the background of a world moving too fast to look back. This belief grows not from pride but from silence, from the long stretch of days where no one asks what they saw or what they lost. Many veterans learn to walk softly, not wanting to burden others with memories that still echo. Yet beneath that quiet step is a weight that only those who have served can fully measure. It is the weight of promises kept, friends remembered, and moments that change the shape of their spirit. When a veteran thinks no one recognizes any of it, they often begin to imagine their chapter is closed, their value tucked away like an old medal in a drawer. But the truth is that the world is full of subtle markers waiting to be noticed, and sometimes all it takes is one person who sees what others overlook. The second idea focuses on the tattoo that started it all, a silent archive worn on skin that carried more history than words could hold. Military tattoos have always been more than decoration. They are timelines, memorials, and identity badges woven into a single symbol. Each line often tells a story of a mission survived, a team remembered, or a lesson learned in the kind of heat that forges strong bonds. For many service members, the tattoo becomes a way to keep the past close without having to constantly speak it aloud. It becomes a map only another soldier can read, a language built from symbols that unlock memories understood by those who walked similar paths. So when the young SEAL's eyes caught that ink, he was not looking at art. He was reading history. What he recognized in that moment was not just a design but an entire lineage, a shared code that stretched across generations. That recognition had the power to stop him in place because he knew he was standing in front of someone who had carried the same weight he now carried, someone who had walked through storms so others could walk in peace. The tattoo served as a bridge between 2 eras of service, proving that stories do not vanish. They simply wait for the right eyes to understand them. The moment the young SEAL stopped in his tracks created a pause thick enough to feel, a silence that carried recognition without a single spoken word. His reaction was not caused by surprise alone. It came from the sudden realization that he was standing before someone whose journey mirrored the path he himself was walking. The tattoo was the spark, but the meaning behind it was what held him still. Service members often develop an instinctive understanding of symbols tied to sacrifice, and this young SEAL sensed that the man in front of him had stories carved deep into memory. That instant taught an important lesson about awareness, about how respect often begins with simply noticing what others overlook. It becomes clear that younger generations can gain more from a single moment of recognition than from hours of formal instruction, because understanding grows naturally when experience meets its reflection in another person. As their eyes met, a bridge formed between 2 generations without either of them needing to build it. The power of that connection showed how military tradition travels quietly from one era to the next. Younger warriors often carry the drive, strength and energy that push them forward, while older veterans carry the wisdom shaped by storms already endured. When those 2 meet, the exchange becomes something rare. The veteran realizes that his experiences did not fade into silence, and the younger soldier recognizes that he is part of a legacy much older than himself. This exchange enriches both sides. It teaches the younger SEAL that service is not just about the mission in front of him but about honoring those who carved the road before him. At the same time, it reminds the veteran that his story still breathes through the footsteps of those continuing the journey. Moments like these reveal how shared identity can collapse the distance of age and time, proving that the military bond is not limited to uniforms or ranks but is carried in the spirit of everyone who serves. There are traditions in the military that travel quietly, almost like an undercurrent beneath the surface of daily life. They are not always spoken, yet they pass from one generation to the next with remarkable clarity. These traditions teach discipline, loyalty and courage without requiring long explanations. A glance, a gesture, a shared symbol can communicate more than a speech ever could. The young SEAL in that hallway carried these traditions even before he fully understood them, shaped by the examples of those who had served before him. The veteran carried the same traditions, forged during different years but guided by the same principles. When their paths crossed, these silent teachings rose to the surface. They reminded both men that the strength of a military family is not held together by rules alone but by the inherited values that move from soldier to soldier like a rhythm that never stops. This understanding helps younger warriors find their place, while giving older ones the comfort of knowing their lessons did not vanish with time. The moment that followed became a reminder of something even greater, that no act of service ever disappears into history. Even when a veteran feels unseen, their story continues to shape the lives of those who stand in the uniforms of today. Sometimes it takes one moment of recognition to reveal that impact. The young SEAL's reaction showed that respect does not fade with years but deepens as new generations learn what came before them. The encounter also teaches viewers an important truth about society as a whole. Gratitude does not always require grand gestures. It begins with awareness, a willingness to acknowledge the people who carried heavy burdens long before we met them. When the young SEAL recognized the tattoo, he recognized a life of sacrifice, and that recognition became a powerful symbol of unity. It showed how one brief interaction can shift the way we see our veterans, reminding us that their stories are still part of our present, not just our past. Moments like these call on everyone to pay attention, to honor the quiet heroes who walk among us, and to ensure their experiences are never left in the shadows.